The Irish War for Independence was important for the Irish people because it granted them freedom from the British Empire and gave them rights and responsibilities that they did not previously have under their rule. Conflicts causing this war date back centuries, although the British Empire has had complete control over Ireland since the 1600s. The primary problem started in the 1700s when the British Empire, which also included many other territories, began to put harsh laws and restrictions on Irish Catholics, including the penal laws, which were actually several different acts, but included the prohibition of the practice of Roman Catholicism. These laws stated that anyone who was caught practicing Roman Catholicism would be punished by law, even to the extent of the death penalty for any practicing Catholic priests in Britain or Ireland.
Decades later, a man called Theobald Wolfetone, an Irish Republican, created the United Society of Irishmen. He founded the society with James Napper Tandy and Thomas Russell in October of 1791.
Their goal was to achieve the emancipation of Roman Catholics and Protestant cooperation. The same year, despite being a Protestant himself, Tone published an argument on behalf of the Catholics of Ireland, defending Roman Catholics in Ireland.
The Irish War for Independence was a war primarily fought between Irish Republicans, who formed the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, and the British forces.
The Irish people had been fighting for home rule, self-governance, without compulsory conscription, essentially being drafted into the military, mandated by law.
The Easter Rising of 1916 was a significant armed revolt by Irish nationalist groups, including the Irish Republican Brotherhood and a certain section of the Irish Volunteers. These Irish Republicans had declared a republic and were still fighting for home rule and advocating to end British rule. These people all likely belonged to the Sinn Féin party, which was the political wing of the Irish Republican Army. The revolt was a significant event leading up to the war that helped pave the way for the Irish War for Independence.
During the 1918 general election, the Sinn Féin published their manifesto, stating their intentions for Ireland. They stated that they stood less for a political party than for the nation, and that they aimed to secure the establishment of the Irish Republic by making use of any and every means available to render impotent of England to hold Ireland in subjection by military force or otherwise. And in January of 1919, the Sinn Féin organized the first Irish Assembly, the Dáil Éireann. The Dáil published a declaration of independence from Britain and sought out gaining international recognition. This brought outrage, though, and resistance from the Loyalists and the British began.
Also in 1919, the same day that the Sinn Féin assembled for the first time, two members of the Royal Irish Constabulary, RIC, were killed in Soloheadbeg, which was the beginning of the outbreak of the War for Independence. After this event, there were many other significant hostilities on both sides, including the burning of Cork City by the Black and Tans, which was a militant group in the Royal Irish Constabulary, made up of ex-soldiers named for their mismatched uniforms due to a shortage of official RIC uniforms. The burning took place on the night of December 11th through 12th, 1920. While no lives were lost, millions of dollars of property were damaged along with hundreds of people's livelihoods and houses.
Another notable moment of hostility was Bloody Sunday, not to be confused with the event in 1972 of a similar name, a surge of violence by the IRA beginning on July 10, 1921. It resulted in 16 killed and more than 100 injured, also including 42 burned houses. Tensions between the IRA and the RIC had been rising and leading up to this point. Members on both sides had snipers and bombers employed to attack people in their own living quarters. Bloody Sunday was one of the final tipping points for the Irish War for Independence, and in December of 1921, the Anglo-Irish Treaty was signed, bringing a stop to the war. It gave 26 counties in Southern Ireland their own parliament, separate from British Parliament, and the Irish Free State began.
Even though the fight for independence was over, the conflict was not. Although the counties of Southern Ireland were part of the Irish Free State, The 6 counties in Northern Ireland opted out of it. This was permitted via the Anglo-Irish Treaty. However, it sparked social and political conflict, which led to the Irish Civil War, lasting from 1922 to 1923. Another effect of the war was obviously Ireland gaining independence from the British Empire and becoming its own republic. They gained their own parliament and governing laws, and the Sinn Féin continued to operate. It is still running to this day and has recently published its manifesto for the 2024 general election. Along with that, Ireland's sense of national pride strengthened.
Our topic ties into the year's theme of rights and responsibilities because Ireland displayed its right to govern itself and become its own free nation during the war. Both sides had responsibilities for what to do with their infantry, despite having different things to fight for. The British Empire also had responsibilities during the war, which included making sure that Ireland would stay in the Empire, which did not happen, and attempting to govern their people while juggling a war.